All right, guys, let's see what we have here. Give me a moment. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. Last week has been a pretty fucked up week, I guess, for people trading BTC mainly, um, or crypto in general. Fuck, even stocks on Friday took a big dump, but Monday to Thursday was actually pretty good for stocks. Give me a second here. All right. So it's gonna be this pretty standard schedule where I'll talk about some macro stuff first. And I guess after the macro stuff, we'll look at BTC, we'll look at ETH, we'll look at Sol, then we'll look at some altcoins and possibly make a watch list to prepare ourselves. But yeah, pretty standard scheduling as usual, week by week. The macro this week. Let's talk about what's going on. First things first. We got the job data came out for May. The job data came out for May was pretty decent. Unemployment stayed at 4.3%, so it didn't go up, it didn't go down. Uh, U.S. market added 172,000 jobs, not bad. But because of that, it kind of saying like the economy is strong enough to keep money tight, but it's still not clean enough to feel fully bullish. Um, and I find it to be strange because we kind of started selling off based off the job data. The job data was pretty good. So it was kind of telling us like even though we had good economic news, it was kind of bad news for the market, um, which personally I found to be very strange. So yeah, that's the first thing that came up. Week after week, I keep talking about how the services in the U.S., the service market, it rose again in May. We've been seeing this trend month after month where companies are still increasing their inventories and orders and everything. And I keep saying like this growth that they're doing is mainly some of the strength is actually real, but that strength that we're seeing is more related towards AI and whatnot. But the other part of it is more buying, and it's pretty much a lot of businesses are like panic ordering inventory before things could get worse. Not saying it will, but they're anticipating that things could get worse based on the war situation, based on the oil situation and things that are happening. So this is how I'm viewing the services in America. What I found to be interesting is I don't think people are paying attention to this is what's happening in Europe, and I spoke about it last week. Is Europe is still stuck in inflation? Their inflation trouble. They have weak growth. Their inflation actually went up to 3.2% in May. Their energy is up at 10.9%. Their services inflation is up 3.5%. And because of what's going on, Europe is basically showing the market's worst case setup, whereas like there's weak growth, but still inflation is a problem. But because of the situation that Europe is facing, I want to show you guys here. They do have where is it? What in 10 days? 10 no, that's the wrong one. In 3 days, sorry, in 3 days, the European Central Bank is going to do a rate hike. So in 3 days, European ECB is going to take the interest rate to 2.25%. This is pretty much guaranteed. And as well, this is not only the one bank that's doing a rate hike this month. So first one is going to be the ECB. Second bank that you guys have to pay attention to is the Bank of Japan. So Bank of Japan, last week I spoke about it. The probability of seeing a rate hike was at 80%. Now, 1 week later, that probability went up to 97%. So in 8 days, we're more than likely 97% chance going to see a rate hike in Bank of Japan to 1%. And I showed you guys before, with every rate hike that Bank of Japan does, we do see a market sell-off that comes later after it. We do have FOMC right after that, and the rate hike percentage is at 4.8%. In fact, I believe this will be incorrect. I think the rate hike is at 0% for this month, really. When I looked at it, they weren't, the CME is not pricing any rate hike odds at the moment. They have 4% for a rate cut. Other than that, we're not going to see a rate hike. All right. So we have FOMC right after the Bank of Japan. So this is for like 2 weeks. Well, not 2 weeks, 8 days, 9 days later. So not something we have to worry about for the coming week, but the week after. All right. What else do we got here? One other thing is oil is still an issue. It hasn't gone up much. It's still like ranging, as you guys can see here. Ranging. I guess we can say it's ranging between 86 to 113. I do expect oil to have one more run in the summer. So at the moment, when it came down to OPEC, they approved for a small July quota increase, but as well, it's not really enough because the actual production had already fallen sharply. So that is still an issue. I mean, we're gonna see every summer, as I said, we see an oil pump. Based on the situation we're seeing now, it makes sense to see an oil pump. Probably later in June, I think this pump will probably start off. But yeah, right now, when we look at the macro side of things, it's safe to say that the market is being squeezed by logistics and energy. And logistics is because of the Strait is down and whatnot. So we can't really do anything about that. As I said last week, we have to pay attention to the bond yields as well. I mean, really, still like the 30-year is still at 5%. The 10-year is at 4.5%. This is not great. We need to see it come down for us to be more bullish, more comfortable. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. We did see, look, always pay attention to the VIX. VIX is pumping. So as soon as the VIX starts pumping, people and TradFi starts going risk off. So as you guys can see here, we want to see VIX at the lows. That's when things look good for TradFi in general, right? That's when people start going more risk on. And you guys can see here with the S&P, not great, but I don't want to completely say this is the top yet, but there is a good chance this is the top right now. So sell in May and go away seems to be real this year so far. So far, it seems to be real this year. Okay. What else? Let's go back to the BTC chart. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's more of the macro overview of what's going on across the world, and we kind of need to pay attention to it. Right now, as I said, quick overview: Europe Central Bank, Bank of Japan are gonna do rate hikes this month. Everywhere else is not doing a rate hike there, or a rate cut. So America, Canada, Australia are pretty much gonna stay the same. Now, in terms of crypto news, we saw Michael Saylor actually sell what was it, 33 BTC, something like that. It was like a small sell, nothing too major. But at the same time, that was it wasn't it wasn't the amount that he sold that mattered. It was more of he kind of broke his image of the never sell image. Um, so it made him look a little bit weak, even though the amount that he sold was peanuts compared to what he's holding. So it wasn't like okay, when he made his whole persona about never selling and always buying nonstop, and for him to sell is just not a great look in general because he went against his own set of rules, right? So he broke the myth of never selling, really. And that's what, if we look at it, the day that he sold, like BTC just, what was, he sold right here. Like, he sold right here. And ironically, whenever he sells or whenever he buys, the market sells off. That's the funny part. And when he buys, people already immediately sell. When he sells, people sell even more. So it wasn't the best look for him to do that. And what what the way I see it is this kind of made people turned off by crypto. I guess more of like the institutions and whatnot. Because we got to understand right now the focus for these institutions or where the big money is, it's all shifting towards AI and obtaining equity in these mega IPOs that are coming, which is like SpaceX. It's supposed to start trading next week on Friday. We got OpenAI, Anthropic. Like those three are really hyped up. So a lot of people are trying to obtain like equity in those companies and or shifting their liquidity into more AI focus. And seeing Michael Saylor sell was not a good look. It kind of like made BTC kind of lose a little bit of its spotlight. So if we were expecting a rotation into Bitcoin like in the summer, right after this AI hype or whatnot, I don't think that's going to be the case, to be honest with you. Right? I don't think that's going to be the case. One thing to understand, like for me, from the way I'm looking at it, is a sailor kind of had to, well, sailor selling, and I don't know if he sold more than what he said. Um, it's like kind of like hedging, because one, we're still in the 4 year cycle, and we haven't really broken that yet. Not the cycle, at least. Like, so whatever we saw every 4 years has been playing out so far. And one thing that we are, a lot of people are not paying attention to, and I said it like many times, this has been the weirdest bear market ever. And I was just looking at some stats. In fact, I was telling you guys, we are dropping way too fast. This downtrend that we have seen so far is happening way too fast. I like, for example, when I look at BTC weekly, right now at the 200 MA, whenever we reached the 200 MA, we were near the bottom. And that was near the end date of the 4 year cycle. So we were following the dates, right, of the 4 year cycle. And whenever we reached this 200 MA, we were actually close to the bottom. And we reached the 200 MA the first time in February. and that was just literally at the start of the bear market. That was still very early on, right? So we're moving a lot faster than we usually do. And based on stats, this has been the worst start for Bitcoin in over a decade. Like 2026, the first 6 months of BTC price action has been the worst in over a decade. And we are actually seeing where is it? To the market. When we look at the ETF outflows, we are seeing insane amount of outflows, like hundreds of millions. Look from look 22nd, 22, 26, 27, just hundreds of millions every single day. And just what on the 4th, we saw a measly of 3 million inflow, right? So so far on a daily, we're seeing hundreds of millions leaving the ETF, right? There is still a lot, don't get me wrong, 54 billion, right? But we are seeing, look at how these outflows are showing. This is exactly like completely different. Like look at June of last year. Look at these. June of last year, we saw some of our best inflows ever. And I told you guys the pattern reverses year after year. In 2024, June, it was more red. You see here, this was a choppy period of time. And then we saw green in 2025 over here. And now we're seeing red. So it's the pattern of reversing is there. And we're actually seeing it right now. So we're seeing a lot of ETF outflows happening right in front of our face. We have sailors selling. So the spotlight, the narrative that Bitcoin had is kind of losing its touch at the moment. That's what a lot of people are believing. For me, I'm still long-term bullish on BTC. I'm just bearish between now until end of September, October-ish. That's it. But at the end of the year, I'm gonna flip bullish again, right? That's my plan, anyways. So it wasn't like the size of the sale that mattered. It just doesn't make BTC look as beautiful to the corporations as it did before. I do think eventually the shift will come back to BTC. And I think after this AI hype and everything is done, people will want to diversify outside of that. And buying index funds that, what do you call it, carry a lot of these companies won't be the way after they've already like captured the move. So eventually they'll come back into BTC when a new bullish narrative will happen. I don't know what that bullish narrative will be, but there is always going to be a bullish narrative. So just wait. I bet you by the end of this year, we're going to see the start of a bullish narrative for crypto. I don't know what it is, but I know it's coming. That's all I can tell you. I can't assume. As for if I had to assume, the bullish narrative will probably be something about stable coins. I don't know what it is, but they keep pushing to build stablecoin infrastructure. Again, it's not very sexy, it's not very beautiful, it's not very interesting to the retail trader, but a lot of countries are pushing for that infrastructure right now. As I said last week, it was Georgia. This week, it's the UK. So week after week, we're still seeing more positive news on that area. So I don't know what they're gonna build around the stablecoin section or say stablecoin infrastructure, but they're gonna. I feel like there's gonna be a bullish narrative out of it that's gonna benefit us. So that's one bullish narrative that's gonna kick in. And what else happened in crypto? Well, you guys saw. I spoke about it. Well, the last 2 weeks, last week and the week before. This was the Zcash move that we saw. Um, so first things first, there was a big exploit that was patched. Um, it had to do with their privacy pool, and long story short, um, you could have minted infinite supply on the privacy pool and pretty much taken it out and swapped it, and no one would have known. This exploit has been there for about 4 years. We don't know if people have actually taken advantage of it. We don't know if anyone has actually exploited. They didn't even tell us um, how someone could have exploited it exactly, because we could have been people that are mining the network. It could have been just sophisticated users. Really, they didn't really give a lot of detail around it. All we know is that this exploit was there. We don't know who could have taken advantage of it and how they could have taken advantage, like how they could have actually minted that supply. But if but it was there for 4 years. They saying they're gonna do a certain type of audit to figure out if the exploit happened or not. From my understanding, that's gonna be a very tough task, actually, to figure out if the exploit, because if someone was exploiting it 2 years ago and they've already taken out the supply and they have already sold it and whatnot, what can they do? What can they do? If someone already took advantage of it and did minted the supply and sold it off and whatnot, etc., and he's already in BTC or in ETH or in USDT, and no one knows, what is anyone going to do? Nothing. You can't really do anything. So I'm waiting to see how they said they're going to do the audit. They did do a hard fork. Um, the issue is this is the second exploit that has happened on Zcash. First one happened around, it was between 2016 to 2018. I can't remember exactly, but the issue is they fixed the code, or they said they fixed the code. They did the hard fork, and they fixed it and whatnot. In crypto, well, in general, there's a difference between fixing code and fixing the narrative damage. They did fix it once they found it. Like I'm pretty amazed that Claude was the one that found it. But they did fix it pretty fast. And honestly, it's gonna take some time to build that confidence back up into Zcash. Is it impossible for them to fix? No, nothing's impossible. People will soon, like people in crypto have memories of a goldfish, so they will forget and move on, and every cycle this will continue to happen. um right now it is said the same researcher that found the exploit in Zcash, he's running it on Monero. So let's see what he finds, and if he finds the same exploit on Monero. um and if he does, then that means there is an actual exploit with a lot of the privacy coins. What? Okay, so imagine this. If I think if they do find some type of bug in Monero that's similar to Zcash's, you might be better off just opening shorts on every single layer one proof of work privacy coin. Just immediately. Just think about it. How will the market react? How will the market participants react, right? Right now, they found the Zcash exploit, okay? They don't know if it's on Monero, and if they did find it on Monero, everyone is just going to assume that this same exploit is on every privacy coin. And if and what's that gonna do? Coins like Dash, Zen, XVG, what do you call Decred, which is DCR, um, we'll probably see a massive sell-off at that point, because even though it's not confirmed to have an exploit, that's going to be, I think, the initial reaction. The first one was focused straight on Zcash, but if they get Monero as well, I think everyone's just gonna assume um, every single privacy proof of work coin has an exploit until the team comes out and says no, there isn't one. Okay, so that's pretty much what happened in crypto. What was it? Last week has been a very eventful week. Honestly, very eventful week. But as you guys see with my thread that I keep updating with all these bugs and exploits, and I literally said like, okay, in that thread, which happened, where was it? Well, let me check the date. Let me check the date. I said phase 2 of the bear market started on April 1st, right? And it was around here. That's when we saw the drift protocol exploit. And then over here, we saw the whole Kepler DAO, Aave exploit go down, which was like hundreds of millions of dollars just exploited. And then over here, where is it? We had massive amount of SUI exploits happen nonstop. And fuck, look, there's just another set of exploits here as well. Like, and then, by the way, between end of April to end of May, there was a ton of exploits on SUI, including them going down multiple times, right? And then after that, which, sorry, it was over here. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, was around here. Around here, just before the big dump, we saw an exploit with Thorchain, and then 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, we saw the Zcash exploit. Look how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major exploits in a span of 2 months. And during this period of time between here and here, SUI just kept getting exploited and shut down. This is what phase 2 of the bear market looks like. All right. Now let's get to some charting. If you guys like have any questions or anything, let me know. So give me 1 second. Okay. So we closed May officially below the 34 EMA. We started off immediately with a dump. For me, I had this support level for the longest time on the monthly, which was 65K. I don't want to see the monthly close below 65K. Okay, I want to see, or if you are bullish, you don't want to see that. If we see a close below 65K on the monthly, we would have closed below the 50 EMA. And typically, right now, by the way, I just want to show you guys, it's pretty funny how last cycle, well, last bear cycle, when we lost the 34 EMA, which was in June 2022, we immediately dumped. And in June 2026, we lost the 34 monthly EMA and we immediately dumped. You see what I mean? It's not that complicated, guys. It's really not that complicated, but people overcomplicate things, but when it's not really that complicated. So if we lose 65K on the monthly, we should go one. If we're gonna follow this pattern, that means July is gonna be somewhat green. Okay, and that's gonna get people to think that we hit the bottom, but we didn't hit the bottom. I think the bottom right now, I again following the 4-year cycle. The first one, I think we retraced. Let me see here. It was 86%. Then over here, we retraced 85%. Over here, we retraced 78%. So on average, we retrace 80%. Okay. So if we were to retrace even 75%, which is a little bit less than last cycle, it would take us to 30K. You guys get what I mean? Right now, the sentiment is on BTC is 50K is the bottom. And for me, for the life of me, and I have a hard time understanding people, is that they've been like a lot of these people that trade have been trading BTC for over 10 years, and they know this information, they know it very well, and yet they can't seem to just adjust to this very simple data point that has been playing out every single time. And with every single cycle, we seem to go down a little bit lower on the EMAs and MAs. So last cycle we broke the 89 EMA, but we quickly pulled back. We dumped all between the 89 and 100 MA. The previous cycle before that, we dumped to the 50s and we held. And the first dump we had, the first bear market we had, or on BTC, we dumped just below the 34 EMA. 50 EMAs was not yet formed, but once it did, we kind of bottomed out and we went on a crazy run. So with every cycle, we seem to go down a little bit lower and lower. So I think this cycle will go down somewhere between the 100 MA to the 200 EMA, which puts us between 40 to 30K, but I'm more towards the 35K and below. If we were to follow the actual 4-year cycle, and do the 80% downtrend, we're looking somewhere between, we're looking at like a 25K. We're looking at retracing to 25K. And I did say we have a ton of CME gaps. 90% of CME gaps get filled on the daily chart. Now there isn't any more CME gaps. So I think this is the last time we go down this far to fill those gaps before we go up, because going forward, there's no more gaps. That's it. There's no more gaps. BTC is 24/7. And I know some people say there's a gap below 10K, but I don't think that gap will ever get filled. Like 90% of gaps get filled and then we move on. So on the monthly chart, we're still bearish, obviously. So where does that take us? Let's look at the weekly. Weekly is gonna close. We're gonna see it close right on the 200, if not below. Uh, we don't know yet. We have got 5 hours, so let's see how this plays out. But you guys know we almost closed below the wick. I don't think we're gonna close below the wick. So let's see. But as well, we want to pay attention to this wick over here. Right now we're below it, which is 65 and a half, 62 and a half. So this close right here matters. So if we do manage to close above the 200, I think we will pump at the start of next week, possibly to like 65K. This move to 65K will be aligned with the hourly 200 EMA. So a retest of it is not out over here, won't be out of the question. But ultimately, I think the last 2 weeks or the last bit of the month is more about filling, like, well, creating a wick, like what we're doing right now. Again, I don't see, obviously I don't see us retracing this monthly candle. I think we're gonna go lower, and I think as the charts are showing us that, really. A lot of people are saying 50K is the bottom because of the 300 MA, but the 300 MA broke last bear cycle and did not hold, but it was quickly reclaimed. And in the COVID dump, at the 300 MA held very well. So for us to go below the 300 MA, I mean, it's not out of the question for me. I think that's going to be the case. And when I look at the weekly chart, it just makes sense for it. Sorry. To try to find the bottom somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. Okay. Now, the other thing we're not paying attention to, or well, people are not paying attention to while they're busy calling bottoms. What do you guys see here? It's very, very simple. Look. The market structure is right there in front of your face. All right? We keep making lower lows. Now, I think we're probably going to squeeze and then break out of this. We're going to fake people out. And we're going to break lower. Simply put, we're printing lower highs and lower lows. We're just following the market structure. All right? So for us to retest 75K, we're retesting previous support. So this is gonna be on the lower time frame, an SNR flip, which means we're retesting what was support, but it's gonna be turned into resistance, and then it's gonna go down lower. Another reason why I think we should, well, we should pay attention to the 3-day, because the 3-day is printing a bull dev, but the 3-day doesn't close till not for another tomorrow really. So it won't close today, it'll close tomorrow. It's printing a bull dev, and we kind of seen this before. So let's see how it plays out. If we do get this green close, because when we look at the trend, we're like really out of it. And when the 3-day loses the trend, like it did here, we still got another long way to go. All right. And I said, guys, like if you guys seen the previous cycle, the 3-day would lose the trend briefly and then reclaim. Last bear cycle, we stayed below the trend for longer than usual. So this cycle could change as well. And we can stay outside of a bullish trend on the 3-day for longer than usual as well. But yeah, in general, there's no real 3-day trend right now. We could have another bearish pump, but right now that bearish pump, when I look at the hourly, is more towards 65, 66K. But let's look at the 4-hour. The 4-hour, what I really want to see is a reclaim of the 34 EMA, like a close above it, above this wick. So 64,700 is where I want to see the 4-hour close. Close above here. So we would close above these wicks over here, and we'll close above the 34 EMA. So like that's where I really want to see as a start. If we get that type of move, we could be looking at, see, why I think we're gonna start with a pump this coming week is because we are severely oversold with bullish divergences. Daily has not printed that yet. 6-hour, 4-hour, 12-hour printed it. So for 12-hour sake, let me remove the EMAs. I want to show you guys. We need to get above 67,400. Now this makes sense. For the longest time, this was kind of like the bottom of the range, really. Right now, we're struggling to get there. So if we manage a 12-hour close above 67.4K, so 67,400 on 12-hour, then we could be talking about, okay, what if we go back to the range high? What if this was just a deviation and we go back to 65K after these two levels are reclaimed? This is how you should be looking at it, because for all you know, we can reclaim this level but still get rejected here, and we make it here, don't get the good close, and then we start forming our way lower, right? So getting these two closes opens up the door to 75K, in my opinion. And ironically, when you look at 75K on the 3-day, that's where the trend is. The fast EMAs and everything that I look at, that's where they are at right now. So this is where I'll put my 3-day level. If we get a 3-day close above this point, then we could be talking about, okay, making a serious move to fill this area up. But until then, we need to get above this range high, and on the 3 day, which is going to be a tough task to do, because when you look at the monthly, that involves us retracing the whole monthly candle. So you need to be thinking in terms of probability. What are the chances that we retrace the full candle, full monthly candle, and flip it green on top of that? This is where you need to be asking. So for me, this 3 day level is a low probability, like low probability of happening. For the daily level, I just want to see us try to reclaim the trend in any of the EMA trends as a start. Um, so even like 70K, these are very tight spots, very, very tight spots. And you guys know, when we have tight spots like this and we've seen it on Sol over the past month, it never really worked out very well for us. So when we put the EMA trend on the daily, that level that I'm really looking at is really just obtaining reclaiming the 13 EMA and the 21 EMA, just trying to reclaim it. But it's really, if we even get there, I think it's going to be rejected. If we get another test of 70K, I think it's going to be rejected more than likely. So the market is not really nice. We do have coming up, with all of this happening, we have the CPI happening. Okay. So they have the CPI inflation going up to 4.2%, and the core CPI going to 2.9%. They have the PPI actually going down, which is interesting. I want to see how that plays out, and why that's happening. But let's just see. This is like the month over month forecast, but let's see the year over year. They didn't give us the year over year. So these are the two things you need to be looking out for BTC this coming week. Usually we dump on the PPI. Even last PPI we dumped, by the way. So we could just see a pump into the CPI this coming week, and then we start the dump again. Okay. Now, what else is happening? Let's look at the funding rate. So BTC funding rate is still positive despite this dump. So people are still longing the dip, you know, and they're obviously they're getting blown up. But when you see ETH, Sol, like you look at these altcoins, they're all negative, all negative, really. Okay. So this is what I have for BTC. Ultimately, I'm more, again, if I see a pump at the start of the week, I won't be surprised. Even if I see a pump, us chop a certain range where we fake ourselves bullish and bearish for the next 20 days or so, I won't be surprised. We saw already the big move for the month, so don't be surprised if we just go like this and like this and like this, and then we start making our way down here for start of July or whatever, and then we come back here, chop, and then we start making our way down. Okay. Give me a second here. Okay. Now that we have these levels, there is something else. Okay. So, year after year, we talk about this. I'm gonna delete these levels now that I've spoken about it. We talk about this frequently. Every year it becomes a topic, which is ghost month, the ghost month dump, the ghost month move, right? So every year we saw the ghost month dump. It hasn't been a secret. But what happened in the ghost month of 2022, which was the last bear cycle, right? So ghost month in 2022 was July 29 here, all the way to August here. This was the start of it, where we had a fake ass pump, and then we started retracing. At the end of the ghost month, we came back to the low, even though we still made a ghost month dump, all right, because we started the ghost month here and we ended it here. We saw a 17% drop in price. We went from 20, I guess the top was 25k. We closed the ghost month in 20k, at 20k. Okay, and then we saw the continuation a little bit after. Then we saw the last dump, and then we bottomed. So what I'm trying to say is, we typically bottom and bear market. Well, this is one sample point. Let me see. Okay, so for this year, we got August 13. This is the ghost month date. Now, let me show you guys here for this bear market how it played out. We saw August 11, 2018. So even in 2018 bear market, it literally, it's kind of crazy. Like, think about it. We're seeing a very similar pattern in the last two bear markets for ghost month, where it started off with a bearish pump and then retraced it at the end. This ghost month actually, what do you call it, did not dump below the start of it by a lot. So it started at 6,200, but it ended the month literally as like not even $100 below it. But what happened after is a very similar move, which was we chopped and then we saw the final leg down. And then we go back here. We had the initial weak pump, dump, chop, final leg down. What I expect here is a very similar pattern. I don't know where we'll be here, but whatever it may be, we are going to probably start with a dump. A pump. So whatever the price is, we start with a pump, and then it ends the month either at the same price or slightly below it. Then we chop, and then we do the final leg down. Now, the irony is, with all of this, and I've been telling you guys for some time that my bear market bottom starts end of September to October, like between end of September to like mid-October, give or take. We should see the final leg down, right? So at the start of the ghost month, which is going to be August, and if we're looking here, as you guys can see here, July started off with a bearish pump, and then we did the final dump. So I'm expecting somewhat July, which is here, wherever we are, we're going to lead into here and then dump to the base of July, chop, and then final leg down. All right, so maybe June we'll go like this. We reach here end of June, then start of July. We do all the way this until mid-August, final up, and then we fully retrace it, come back to the start price of July, and then we do chop for a little bit, and then we finish the dump end of September to mid-October, and then we bottom, and then we start doing the accumulation for a year, and we take it from there. So well, I haven't talked about ghost month in a while. A friend of mine brought it up to me, told me to look at it. I did. This was like just a quick analysis. I wanted to show you guys that in bear markets, well, the last two bear markets, when we had ghost month, we did a weak bearish pump that retraced after. We came back to the base. Remember my saying from last year, I returned to the base. You guys hated me when I kept saying, we're going to return to the base, return to the base. I kept repeating it last ghost month, and surely we returned to the base. It was somewhere to the, it was in, this was October, this was September. Yeah, it was here. I returned to the base. Somewhere one of these lows. It was either this low, I can't remember, but we returned to the base. I kept saying, and we were somewhere around here. Oh yeah, this was the low right here. I remember it now. Sorry. So we had this initial pump, and we dumped over here. I'm like, we're gonna go even lower. Then we had the pump here because of Jerome Powell. This was the Jackson Hole thing. Then we dumped and we returned to the base. So same thing with this ghost month. We will return to the base. We will return whatever that base is around July and August. That is going to be where we return. So let's just see how June plays out. This is a lot of analysis I did on BTC for you guys, but I just wanted to prepare you guys of what's to come months down the line. Fuck. But yeah, I returned to the base. You guys are gonna hate me for saying it. I returned to the base. I returned to the base, but I'm gonna keep saying it as a reminder. All right. Now let's talk about some ETH. By the way, guys, if you want me, I don't know what's going on, but if you guys want me to chart anything, put it in the comments. All right, I'll look at it when I can. All right. Let's look at some ETH. Yep. Ironically, I think ETH is going to have a killer fourth cycle. A killer fourth cycle. A lot of people are not really paying attention to ETH. They have wrote it off. I think now if you wanted to build, okay, everyone that's trying to build a crypto portfolio is going to have Bitcoin, obviously, right? And they want to have some large caps. And I kept it simple for you guys. BTC, hype, and ETH, really. I think ETH is going to outperform Solana next cycle. I think, again, I keep repeating, but Solana's going to suffer from the third year cycle. ETH already went through it. uh, Tom Lee, if he's not liquidated, will be vindicated. All right. Next cycle, if he's not liquidated, he's gonna be a genius. But right now, ETH is shitting its bricks on the weekly chart. Let me see if I could get a better chart for you guys. Yeah, this is more clean. Guys, like once upon a time, ETH was like literally $1, below even $1. Believe it or not. At one point, ETH was fucking 50 cents. The good times, bro. Look what they took away from us. Look at so right now, ETH is sitting right on the 200 EMA on the monthly chart. All right. So this, if we close below it, this will be the first time ETH loses the 200 EMA. ETH losing the 300 MA is not out of the question, or the 200 has happened before. Now the question is this just one big ass high time frame range on ETH, right? Is this how it is? Could it really be that simple? I think it is. And I think I told you guys last year in 2025, we're going to see 3-digit ETH. And now this is becoming more of a reality for a lot of people, where they're saying, yeah, ETH is going to 3 digits. More and more people are reaching the consensus that I've reached last year at the start of the bear market. I think that's normal. But at the same time, there's a lot of people in delusion that refuse to accept that ETH is going to 3 digits. I think ETH is going to go below 1,000. I think we're going to sweep these lows, but I think that will be the bottom. You should, if you see 3-digit ETH, you should buy it. You should buy it. Good chance we will go back and the 4 digits, high 4 digits even. ETH going back to $2,000 will not be a problem, in my opinion. I think we're gonna see a lot of development in the ETH network coming next year, and I think that's going to take a lot of people by surprise. By surprise. So, where am I seeing ETH going next? I think, I don't know if it's gonna happen next cycle. Um, but ETH going to like 10K is really not out of the question for me. I think eventually it will hit 10K, but if I was to play it, I guess ETH to is going to go to 7,500 American to 14,000, somewhere in between there. I think ETH will break its all-time high of 5K, and it should hit 7,500 at the very least. I think there's even a chance that we might see it go to 14,000. I don't think it'll go above 14,000 next cycle, next bull cycle, but I would put, 7,500 to, let's just say 15,000. So 7,500 to 15,000, start selling your ETH, in my opinion, and you will probably catch a nice 10x. So if this happens, you'll be catching a 10x move. So you long here, And even if you close here, so here to here, that'll be a nice little 10x move on a large cap. Why do I think ETH could hit that price? Well, I'm gonna be looking at the ETH PTC price and where ETH, okay, so if we were looking at ETH BTC as a whole, I need better. Okay. Let me see something here. Let me do some quick math for you guys. Okay. Here to here to here. Okay. So if you were to expect, okay, if ETH was to go to similar price in BTC here next cycle, and let's say BTC was 200, I don't know, let's say 225,000. Okay, we had 225,000 BTC. ETH is at 0.035. We're looking at $7,875 per Ethereum. So even if what do you call it? ETH BTC was here and BTC had $225,000, we're looking at ETH hitting that $8,000 target, give or take. Okay, so let's look. Okay, we know ETH is bearish on a higher time frame. We talked about that. Let's look at some levels. Okay. So for me, it's very similar to BTC. I want to see a reclaim above this 7,000 1,745 on the 4-hour, which would reclaim the 34 EMA, and that would take us to the 1 hour 200s, give or take. And see, and that would, if we get a close above that, we'd close above the February lows. That was a big break on the February lows, so we may just retest it as an SNR flip. But the 12-hour really needs to get above this spot over here, 1,890, which is as well the 34 EMA. But I'm not really looking at the EMA. I'm more looking at this was the point of breakdown for ETH. And on the daily, it's more about $2,000 for me. I want to see a daily close above here. And for me to actually feel good about the 3-day, the 3-day kind of needs over here, 2,175. Again, it's very close to each other, which I don't like. But when we look at the 4-hour chart, look how it maps out. This is why I really like the 4-hour chart, by the way, because as you mark these levels of the higher time frame, you can see how it comes together. So like I didn't even know this, by the way. I didn't know that I'm mapping the 300 MA on the 4 hour. It just becomes second nature with time. I saw that that was a resistance point on the 3 day and matches with the 4 hour 300 MA. I saw the daily resistance where it's at, just naked, and matched with the 4 hour 200 EMA. The 12-hour resistance, which was the point of breakdown, matched with the 89 EMA, and the 4 hour resistance matched with the lows of February and the 34 EMA. So ultimately, these are my levels. But as I said, on a long-term basis, I do think ETH is heading towards these weekly lows here. All right. Yeah, I think people are looking to see, oh, like, okay, trends are trends. We have to respect it, and we know that bear trends are shorter than bull trends, but serious bear trends don't end in like 4 months. People always mistaken bear trends with bullish pullbacks, right? So always look at the higher time frame to understand what's a bullish pullback and what's actually a bear trend. There's a big difference between that. Well, and ironically, a bear trend at the end of it is actually a bullish pullback. To be fair, the bottom of the bear, once it's all said and done, is technically one big major bullish pullback, but you just lose 90% of your money. All right, let's look at Solana. Yeah, I kept telling you guys, Solana looks like shit. Looks like dog shit. Solana will probably print its first green candle in like fucking 9 months, starting in July. But it'll be so fucking tiny. All right, that it won't matter. Ultimately, I think Solana is going to hit a number that no one will like. It makes sense for us to go to the 30s. It really does. I do think we're going to break the $40 mark on Solana. So between 30 and 40 is where I have it going. So yeah, even here it's trying to print a bull dev. Even ETH, they're all trying to print bull dev, which tells me more than likely we may dump on Monday, but pump on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then sell off on Thursday. That wouldn't surprise me. So, but I'm more right now. I'm patient. I'm gonna wait for the weekly close, futures open, all that stuff. See how it plays out, and then just take it from there. Uh, again, Solana 4 hour levels. Needs to what do you call it? Reclaim 69. Really. And see, that level is more like around the lows, just above it. And let's go here on the 12 hour. For me, 12 hours right here needs to reclaim 75, 74. And the daily, looking at 81.24. Fuck. Yeah. For the 3 day, it needs to be a little more aggressive. Um, if we can get a close about the 50s, which will be top of the range, that'd be great. 95. But yeah, Solana's chart is still not clean. Like, I don't know, man. I haven't liked Solana this whole year, and I just should have just shorted it because the chart has just been ugly since the start of the year. Like literally, uh, just bounced here and then it's been down only. So, like if you just shorted Solana in October, you would always be in the green. There was no wick that came close to taking you out. Like, even if you just shorted 187, kind of crazy. But yeah, this is what I'm thinking about BTC, ETH, Solana. Um, again, I don't see. I just see us getting more of a bearish pump than anything. And as what the hell? Okay, let me read some of those comments. Esports. Let me see esports. I don't know why you're looking at esports, but wasn't. Yeah. The fuck. Um. Yeah, I mean, you can probably catch a bearish pump, but this this chart, like this coin, has lost the trust of people willing to hold it long term. So this type of candle that you see, like people people are stuck holding the bag, and they're gonna start selling at any pump they get because they want to get the fuck out and minimize their losses. That's number one. Number two, I don't even hold esports. Now that I've seen this, I don't want to buy this type of chart. If a chart is capable to go in one day 90% down, I'll always be thinking, what did in my sleep, did this should go down 90%? Did it go down 90%? Did it, you know what I mean? So if you're not even in it, people are gonna be thinking the same thing. Like, I don't want to be in something that can go 90% in one candle, regardless of how good it is. So you got those two situations when it comes to the way certain market participants are thinking about it. Will it get a pump? Yeah, but more than likely, as I said, it's bearish pump, people trading it for the sake of trading it, but I don't see it reclaiming its highs. Um, like this is like, bro, I'm on the hourly chart. It's not even a daily candle. It's like literally an hourly candle that went down. Like two hourly fucking candles that went down 90%. But yeah, if you want to lock in, flip this range, I guess. Um, and you can maybe write it to, yeah, 14, like 15 cents or something. But yeah, um, yeah, these are just recovery pumps. But let me see, Siren. Siren did the same thing, but it was fucking brutal. Because you see, it did this move in April, and now we're in June. So it's like April, May, June, 60 days, and it's still not back at its highs. Siren has been showing up on the scanner quite a bit, but people have a hard time trusting charts like this. And Siren, in terms of EMA trend, did reclaim it, whereas we're very much not close to reclaiming. So yeah, when you look, Siren dumped all the way to the 300, reclaimed it immediately, and did all of this bullshit. But it's always, after that initial dump, it stayed above the 200s the whole time. Whereas esports still needs, it needs to get above 34 cents. 30 cents really. Is there a trade? Yeah, there is a trade here if you believe that, if it could pull a Siren. But I wouldn't risk much. Just keep that in mind. GTA is coming this year. What do you think? Will there be a strong narrative around gaming coins? Blah, blah, blah. I think GTA is gonna be more of its own thing. Uh, uh, so GTA is gonna get launched at the bottom of the market, and that's the funny part. I'm glad you brought it up. So it's gonna be a big meme. A lot of people are going to quit crypto at the bottom of the market after the big flush to go play GTA in hopes of making their money back on GTA instead of crypto. And while that is happening, crypto is going to accumulate, go into accumulation phase for a year. And people are going to be shit talking crypto while showing off all the money they're making off GTA, blah, 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 all that stuff. Only for, a year later, year and a half later passes by, and everyone that stayed in crypto would have outperformed everyone that has left crypto for GTA. Because apparently you can make money off GTA. I personally don't know how you can make money off GTA, but a lot of people are talking about it. So I do see a lot of people leaving crypto at the bottom for GTA to make money. And obviously there's going to be pump fund coins launched and all that shit for GTA. But ultimately, I think the release of GTA is going to be more of a market bottom signal than anything. All right. Let me see here. If you guys have any other questions or anything, just let me know. Guys, we're going to start looking at some alts. All right. Sorry. Keep this one on the watch list because a pullback on this could be bullish if it maintains the trend. So if it maintains the lows very well, you could look to get into this. This one's so fucking weird. Yeah, let's keep this. Let's see how it goes. No. Okay. Arc. Yeah, this one feels like it's gonna have a pretty big retrace, to be honest, if this hourly candle doesn't flip. This feels like a bearish grind if it doesn't break out soon. So arc looks like it's gonna break out, to be honest, but it needs to break out now or very, very soon. Held the dump pretty well, not gonna lie. This one what has been on the scanner for days, and it fucking like yeah, even yesterday showed up at $1.50, like it's up 100%. This is what I mean. There's always like alts to trade. There's always longs to take. Like there are alts that were not impacted at all by the BTC dump. But the question is, how are you going to find them? If everyone's looking at BTC Soul, ETH, Hype, Zcash, or what near and like VVV, and that's all, you're gonna say the market is dumping. When it isn't necessarily. Yes, the market majority is dumping, but like look at this. When the market was dumping, it was having a bullish pullback, and then once the ETF outflow stopped, it continued going up. Even Velvet. How many times was Velvet on the scanner? Siren as well. We just talked about this one. I don't like this one. So, guys, when you're looking at the scanner, like when you see the breakout watch, that doesn't mean you need to take those longs. That means those things, like what's listed on breakout watch, means keep an eye on them for confirmation. There could be something building there for a long, and if you see the chart and if you like it, you take that long. It's the same thing with short watch. Things that are on the short watch don't necessarily mean you need to take that short. You need to look for confirmation. Things that are T1 are usually valid setups. T2 early and T2 watch list are more than likely valid setups. You need to pay more. Like T2 early is confirmed more. T2 watch list is as well. You got get confirmation and get in. So there's different categories. This one has been grinding. This one too. You need to pull back. See, like for example, this one on the higher time frame looks decent, right? On the daily. Hourly looks like it's gonna do somewhat of a small pullback. So this one was on the T2 watch list. So what you do is, oh, I like this one. Okay, and it looks like it could go to around here, right? Okay, if it goes here, I'm gonna pull the trigger on a long and whatever, right? That's what the watch means. Don't just blindly take a setup. Sahara looks like it's wants to break out. Gonna have if it can get above 4.5 cents, it's going. Hamster has been showing up. Uh, I don't like this one. Ah, wait. Ladies, I don't. This one might play out well. Yep. Mm, no. Lab. It's kind of crazy. The big pullback it had didn't fuck up the daily chart too much, but talked about this one. Uh, this one's not too bad. On the lower time frame, but higher time frame it sucks. Okay. Hmm. This one's not bad either. But Jiro, this one gets, guys. I don't know why Jiro has kept popping up non-stop. And look, it's here, then here. Even I want to add it, but I don't like how the 4 hours playing out. But I would say I'm gonna keep it, see if it can do a decent pullback, and possibly see if we'll stay on the scanner for some time, maybe tomorrow or something. And this is a new one, obviously. All right, quick overview. Okay, see the shorts. This one keeps showing up on the short list, and it's always at the same fucking price. Why? I have no idea. But it is printing a bear dev. So let me keep it there. I don't like magma. This has been up only this whole year. either way. Mhm. I actually don't know what it does, but I wouldn't short this. This one could be a decent short, but it'll probably take a little bit of time. Maybe wait a couple of days for confirmation. I wouldn't short whiff yet, but it does look like it's going to break below 100 million market cap. It's so right now with whiff, it's 10-10 wick is holding. So a confirmation break below that low, um, yeah, it's a short. Hmm. Yeah, same with Filecoin. These shorts need more confirmation, but they're not bad setups. Let's go with them one more time. Yeah. UB. I'll check it out. Give me a sec. A lot of these setups, by the way, require some type of pullback. I wouldn't long them right now. UB, honestly, this today on day looks like more of a bearish pump. Actually, looks more of a well. You should have shorted it today morning on the hourly rejection. There's definitely some people stepping in to buy, but I rejected the 4-hour 200s and the hourly 200. Rejected the 21, 50, 34 on the 12-hour, daily 34, and the fifth, like, it's more of a bearish rejection, to be honest with you. But the move kind of already happened. With for UB to be good, fuck. Yeah. Let's see. Let's think here. Yeah. I mean, there's a small volume increase on the open interest increase. Volume big increase. I don't know. I wouldn't long this. I wouldn't long this right now. Any other charts, guys? Let's see what else. Yeah, see, arc needs to close green. Keep an eye on these. One second, guys. As the news just came in, Israeli military says it has intercepted so far all missiles launched from Iran. Okay. Israel sources, yeah, they're gonna bomb. So Israel's like, we're gonna attack Iran back, and Iran said the attack was a warning. In case Israel repeats its aggressions, the responses will be broader and encompass all American Israeli targets in the region. So yeah, the bearish news has started again. It's coming out right now. They're pumping. Sorry, they're bombing each other. I wish they were pumping. XMR. Yeah, XMR does not look great, to be honest with you. Not great. 12-hour rejection on the 200 EMA. Even though it reclaimed the daily EMA, we might see a pump to maybe just under 500 on Zcash. Depending on how the market is, that might be a short entry. Based. Not really liking this one. Not for long. Like, um, let's see here. Even XRP. BNB topped the stock market, ironically. XRP losing the 200s. Doge did. TRX is holding better than fuck, but it printed a giga bearish divergence on the weekly. So you may be able to short TRX all the way to 20 cents, which is like a 50% drop. Cardano looks like shit. I pointed out last week, it's already down from 24 cents to 15 cents. XLM. Hype printed a bearish divergence on the 3-day daily divergence. So we're looking possibly at $40 hype happening, by the way. Sui. Tau. Okay, let me check Tau for you. Damn. Is there a better chart? This can't be the... Damn. That's all the data? Um, I think you can get Tau around 150, but there's even a chance Tau might break that 140 low, by the way. It's not looking great on the higher time frames at all. Link looks like it's gonna go to like $5 or some shit. AVAX looks like it's gonna go to $5. Litecoin looks like it's gonna go to like fucking 30. Holy shit, back to 20. Jesus fucking Christ. These are monthly charts, by the way. And you can tell, like, Pepe looks like it's gonna go back to its lows. Ave is like literally at its monthly lows. Like ENA, garbage. Ondo, garbage. APT, even lower. Like APT has fully retraced everything. It's going lower by a lot than its official launch price. Bonk as well. I don't even want to talk about this one. There's a lot of struggling alts. A lot. And your goal is to avoid them. Your goal is to avoid them. Trump just came out. It's so funny. Trump, as I'm talking to you guys, Trump suggests to Iran, you've shot your missiles, that's enough. And he's like, Iran and the US are close to a deal. See here. All right. I think that's enough charting for today. Before I close off the stream and everything, I know right now this is like a very, very tough time for a lot of you guys in trading. But honestly, most important, like, this is actually the best time for you right now. A lot of people want to look at the bad. I see it as good. Bear markets are actually really good for improving your knowledge, improving your skill set, learning from your mistakes and everything. When you're in the bull market, you just don't have time. You're just focusing on trading, trading, trading. No one ever really takes time in the bull market to educate themselves, to learn, to do anything really. They just want to maximize their gains as much as they can. All I gotta say is, guys, like, from what I realize, talking to some of you about trading, talking to people, everyone like has this one core. Not everyone, but majority of people that I find have this core thing that is eating up inside of them, is that they don't like the idea of uncertainty, and everyone wants everything to be certain, and that just doesn't apply to that. That only doesn't apply to trading, but it applies to everything. But in general, like, removing the aspect of uncertainty will remove the aspect of risk, and that would remove the aspect of reward, right? So as you guys know, no risk, no reward, no uncertainty, no good outcome or any outcome really. So uncertainty is actually needed for you to be rewarded. It's called, for me, I look at it as risk. There's no such thing as guarantees. There's no such thing as something as certainly happening. Um, no one can give you a setup that you cannot lose on. That idea in itself is stupid, because uncertainty is built into the market itself. Even when you look at other aspects of your life, like what if I fail? What if BTC dumps? What if I make the wrong decision? What if I waste my time? What if I leave? Those are all things that people are uncertain about and always ask themselves. Well, you're gonna spend a lot of time trying to figure out the answers to all of this shit, and you'll never find the answer. And you're just gonna have your life pass you by instead of actually just diving in and taking a chance and possibly actually improving your life, improving yourself, and all that stuff. And even if it didn't work out, you would probably learn a lot from it, right? Um, as this doesn't come down to confidence, as it really comes down to you being sorry, it really comes down to you being comfortable with the idea that you can live with uncertainty. You don't need to know exactly what's going to happen. You just need to know that you'll deal with it when it does, right? If something, so instead of thinking the worst that could happen, start thinking about the best thing that could happen. And regardless of what happens, you'll always be prepared, whether it's bad or good, right? And that will actually give you experience. When I was starting in trading, I wanted to know what was the setup that would always be certain to make me money. And if there was a setup that would always make you money, we would have known about it by now, and there isn't, right? So instead of having that mindset of wanting certainty, have a mindset of what are trades that I could take that give me good odds, give me a higher probability. So if you start thinking about trading as a game of probability, of a game of odds, and start looking at it that way, you'll see a huge difference. Now, the reason why people think about it this way when it comes to trading is because everyone treats trading as gambling, so they want to go all in and just make one trade, change their life, and move the fuck on. But it doesn't work that way, and that it doesn't even work that way in life. Even if you create a business, there's no certainty that your business will work, right? So I'll give you guys an example of, for me, like my own life example, right? When I first started perp flow, I was okay. I didn't know much about AI. I don't know, by the way, I have zero coding knowledge. I don't know anything about coding, right? And what I did was, okay, let me go into Claude, figure this out, try it out. What's the worst that can happen? I started out, and the first version of the scanner popped, and I got it to pop spam the channel that I created on Telegram, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Now bear in mind that performance of the first scanner I made is nowhere near to what the current scanner is doing right now. But that first step that I took, where I actually got a market scanner set up, I had a nice Telegram channel set up, I actually saw it populate the channel and do the scan and do everything that I asked it to do. That first step I did gave me a sense of confidence that, hey, maybe I can actually build something with this. Maybe I can do something here. I wasn't certain I can when I first started, right? So I just kept at it. I saw the first, sign that, hey, there is something there, and I just kept adding and adding and adding and adding. And then now, 6 months later, what I started out with is completely different than what it is right now, and in a good way. Now, I wasn't certain that what I'm going to build is going to work. I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't even know how to use Claude. Fuck, I didn't even know how to use Claude Code. But I was, instead of worrying about, I need to learn this, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do that, I just took it one step at a time. And when I need to learn something, I'll learn it at the next step if it needs to be, little by little, over time. Every decision I made kept compounding me to move forward, right? And now, what I have now in terms of market scanner is completely different. than what I had before. Like for example, many of you don't know this, but like based on the data at the moment on a daily basis, the scanner is catching almost 50% of the top 40 movers in terms of longs. We're at roughly 40 to 45%. We're scanning a market that has almost 700 tickers, and we're trying to capture the top movers every single day. And now it's at a point where it's catching roughly 40 to 45% of the top 40 longs to take. When I first started, I wasn't nowhere near that, but I just kept being persistent. And that's all it is. You have to be so fucking stubborn and delusional that you'll figure it out and that you'll make it work, that you just keep taking small steps forward, and before you know it, it's a completely different thing, and whatever you thought of, it becomes even better. And now I fully believe that within the next 2 to 3 months, what I will be able to capture roughly I want to say 60 to 70% of the top movers on a daily basis. If you are waking up every day and someone's giving you market reports of potentially the top setups every fucking 4 hours, and you're not taking advantage of it, of trying to figure out how to make it work, then you need to remove that uncertainty, you need to remove that doubt, you need to remove that fear, because it doesn't get any easier than that, right? It doesn't really get easier than that. Even giving you 40% of the top movers every single day, it really doesn't get easier than that. You don't have to, like we saw what BTC did all week, and while BTC was dumping, the scanner was printing some of the best fucking win rate percentages I have ever fucking seen. I'm not gonna lie. So it was between, the win rates was between 70 to 80% on longs on a week that BTC crashed 15%. You need to prepare yourself for the bull market. This is the perfect fucking time. Just remove all uncertainty in your mind and just take one step forward. Honestly, that's all it takes. All it takes, one small step forward that builds your confidence, that will give you confidence to take another step forward, yada yada and so forth. You think in the last 6 months I didn't hit any brick walls? You think in the last 6 months I didn't run into any issues with this? You think I didn't get frustrated or didn't think of whatever? I fucking did. But at the same time, when I did, I took a step back. I put trust in myself. Sometimes I'll smoke a joint, whatever. I'll lay back, and whatever I needed to fix that was bothering me, it would just come to me, and then I'll do it, and then it would make sense. So whatever it is, just because you hit a brick wall doesn't mean it's over. You just gotta figure it out how to move around it, and you will. It really doesn't get easier than that. The move that would steal the most money on Monday would be, yeah, yeah. Um, that's literally it, man. Just whatever you can identify a way to make money off the market, just fucking do it. No one's pressing your buttons at the end of the day. If you made money off XRP or Hex or whatever, and it changed your life, and then some fucking guy comments like, this guy's a XRP loser, right? Honestly, if XRP made me a fucking $1 million, who's the fucking loser? The guy that made $1 million, or the guy that's in love with the brand and the low? I don't give a fuck what I'm trading. I said that many times. If people have moved on to trading dog shit, and that's where the money is, that's where the volatility is, that's where I could maximize a good trade out of, fuck it, I'll trade it. I don't give a fuck. That's how it should be. You're trading, you're not investing. So for sometimes you gotta forget the labels and make the trade. And sometimes you know when the fundamentals are not sound, and even though, like, for example, if you know a coin's fundamentals is not really good, but they're still scam pumping it, you should be on the cautious side when it comes to trading it, because you have that information that the average participant does not have. So pay attention to all these things. To be a profitable trader, everyone just overcomplicates it. Really, it really just, it's not that complicated. Stop trying to go all in on every trade. Give yourself a chance. Build your probability. Build your system. Build your risk management. Give it a little bit of time. 2-3 years down the road, you would have changed your life, and you would be fucking happy that you did it, because there are people that have been trading Bitcoin below $100, and they're still fucking broke today. They have nothing. They have nothing because they failed to adapt. They failed to change. They failed to get better in any way, shape, or form. So this is how I'm gonna end the stream today. It's past 4. Again, thank you guys for joining. Have yourselves a great day, and let's have a great week. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.